Hi, my name is Isabel, and for this week's discussion on vulnerable populations, I decided to focus on the topic of students that migrate, since it is something that I am familiar with both personally as well as work-wise. Work-wise prior to me having my daughter and actually working. The summary of viewing is the policy speaks about the impact that students with non-traditional living situations face, and this focuses on children who migrate. By that, it means children who have to move around due to different reasonings. Why they are considered vulnerable is that they encounter a greater transition in life, and this could include school and having to move from school to school, as well as having limited access to both like housing, healthcare, food, different things. It also mentions the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act, which I believe is like from the 1980s, late 1980s, but it is a federal funding that helps house people, as well as it helps them get into school right away. It's just a really amazing assistance act. Part of the act is the ESSA, which is Every Student Succeeds Act. In this, I believe it's in the first clause, it includes the Migration Education Program, which helps children who migrate be able to continue their education. It really focuses on education. It also helps them get the assistance that they need. People who are considered for this, they have to range between the age of 3 to 21. And their parents or themselves have to fall into this migration job, which could be needing to move around, like if you're a farm worker, if you're like a dairy worker. The other viewing that it included was a personal story of a young girl. And it shows her story of how she is a migrant here, how she helps her parents out, how she focuses on her education. It really was a very touching video, as it is something that I could relate to. It was just a very sweet video, but also a very tough video to watch, having to see her struggles, her family struggles, but seeing how thankful she is for what she does have. It was just very touching. A summary of the reading. The reading mentions Hope and Janet, and they are both migrants. They work in the migrant education department. What they do is that they show up to different farm workers camps, and this would include like dairy, agriculture, and they help people, whether it be them themselves if they fall within the age requirement, or the parents so that their children can get help. Their main focus is to really make sure that the people that they speak to, that they're trying to help, either continue their education, get their GED, or since they may need it, learn how to speak English. Parents of the families, they have to move around to find work in different areas of the U.S. Since the U.S. Is so different land-wise. Different agriculture grows at different times of the years in different places, and this causes a disruption with their children. They have to get up and move. That is something that is mentioned in the personal story of Rosa Salazar. She mentions how she dropped out of 9th grade because of the need to, and how that is something that she regrets now that she is, I believe, 24, and she has aged out, so she can no longer be a part of this program, but she is still working to get her GED. As I mentioned, one of the main goals of this program is to help kids keep in school, since they often have to drop out to work full-time to help their families. This is due to needing assistance, poverty. Typically, the kids will either work before school, after school, sometimes both, and, not having money and needing money to get things such as like healthcare and food, it could make some people drop out of school because the need is then and the money is coming in from that job. And you're not so much getting anything out of school in a sense. The main focus of this program is to recruit and have outreach. So they work with the school so that they get a heads up when new family arrives, when these kids might need help. As for questions/experience, what experience you have working with this population? Share your perspective on the most helpful resources and or policies. I do have experience working with children, not only who come from migrant families, or a migrant themselves, but also that have autism, as I worked in ABA before. I worked with 2 separate families. One of them was not for a long period of time since they were migrant families and they had to relocate. The other family that I worked with was the sweetest, and the family was so involved. It's amazing to see how involved the family is in their children, since it's them giving their kid the opportunity to grow and have this experience that they didn't get to have. Some of the most helpful resources and or policies, I would say, was one, ABA, to the fact that they're able to get their children healthcare when needed by using programs such as these, so that they're able to get the help that they need. Another resource is the school itself. The school itself, at least in the area that I worked in, they were very big advocates. They wanted to do their best to help these children as well as the families get all of the help and resources that they possibly could. Another one that I would say is your community. Your community can be a very big help if you know where to look, which is a little hard at times. But I would say that is another great resource.